Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do my review on the new Le Beige Chanel Water Fresh Complexion Touch and then the new blush that they came out with. I will be absolutely comparing it to one of my favorite products from Chanel is the Water Fresh Tint, and we're gonna compare the coverage, how it's looking like, and then just give you all my thoughts. I have worn these before. I've been enjoying actually wearing it before I do first impression on camera, just because I think I get a little bit more knowledge and I can be a little bit more helpful with my thoughts. So if you're interested, continue watching. Make sure you like this video. It helps me out so much. And if you're new here, welcome. I'd love for you to subscribe down below. Let's get started. So right now I don't really have anything on my skin. I just have a moisturizer, my skincare from this morning. I'm gonna start just talking a little bit about this product versus this one. This one you get 1 full ounce, and this you get 0.7 ounce. So you definitely get less product, but the price is the same. When I look at them, there's definitely a little bit more beads on this one, or it seems like it's a little bit more dense. The beads seem a little bit just bigger. So I assume that that's like the pigment, the extra pigment that you get. In this one, this is a very absolutely sheer, barely any foundation on. This gives you a little bit more coverage, but it's quite the same DNA as this, just a touch more pigment. So this has been like the tint has been a favorite for me. I think that there's something so unique about the product that you become just flawless without coverage. It's almost like a filter on your skin. Now, if you have big issues with your skin, this may not be the product for you because it does not give much coverage at all, but the way it sits on the skin, it just almost blurs my skin. I still see all my freckles, all my imperfections through, but it just helps it out. So let me start with this one. I'm going to swatch them side by side so you can see, and then I'll apply it. So here I'm going to swatch both because I want you to see the difference in pigment. It's going to fall. Okay, so this is the Water Fresh Tint, and this is the Complexion, and you can see this is way watery. So I'm going to start kind of rubbing this in. I'm going to do it this way because I feel like it's going to fall. So that is the Water Fresh Tint right there, and then I'm going to blend in the other one, the Complexion. So these are the two products, the tint and then the Complexion. And I can definitely see that this has more coverage. Initially, I could tell that like there's more beads, little beads in there. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of this one because I feel like that pump had like barely any pigment in it. So I'm just gonna intensify this one so it's fair. There we go. So you can really see the color. So this one right here is the medium in the Chanel tint, and this is B30. I picked the color B30 in the Complexion. And I think if you're one or the other, I think you could definitely pick B30, for example, if you're a medium in the water tint, because I think the medium is a little bit more peachy. This is a little bit more neutral, and I actually like this color just a little bit more. It looks quite more intense here than it goes on the skin. So what I always do is I put a little bit on my hand right here, rub it in, and then put it on my skin. If I put it straight on my skin, I feel like I don't pop all those little beads and I don't get enough coverage. So I'm gonna start with the water tint on this side. And this, I put half a pump here. I'm gonna add another half. I don't know why I did just half. I should have done the whole thing. And I use my fingers all the time for this, all the time. I find it that it pushes the product in better. It just it just works better for me. I love using my hands for everything. I don't mind getting them dirty and messy. I know some people hate that. So if you have a really dense brush, it works real well. This actually came with a brush, but I don't know where it is. I probably threw it out because I never used it. But it was a decent brush. It was nice and like dense. Yeah, it was decent. So this is the Tint in the shade medium, with and without. And you can see that there's not a ton of coverage, but there's this blurriness, this evenness of the skin without having much coverage. And I just love it. I think it's beautiful. So this little guy does come with a brush. It's right here. So this is the brush that it comes with, but it's so tiny. I mean, this is a concealer brush. You could definitely use this as a concealer, but all over the face, no. It's just gonna take forever. Just use your fingers or use like a dense not kabuki brush, a dense brush like this. This is the Sonia G, dirty as ever, or BK Beauty 101. This is wonderful. You could use that, something that's quite dense. So I'm gonna put the Complexion Touch on this side. I'm putting 2 pumps because I could have used 1.5 on this side, but I always go back for more. I'm rubbing this in and then I'm gonna spread it on. This was definitely more than enough. I should have put just 1. I could have gotten away with just 1. This is the Complexion Touch, and as you can see, it has a little bit more coverage. I hope you can see. Even in this area, you could probably notice it the most. I try to put it just slightly around my eyes because that's the reddest part. I didn't sleep much. And I've been waking up at like 5:45 to go work out. Who am I? Also, this side, you can see the freckles a little bit more, where this side is a little bit more covered. You can still see them through, which I like, but it's just a little bit more coverage. I can definitely see a difference. I definitely have more redness here, a little bit more darkness, if I want to call it, from the freckles. This looks a little bit more smoother. Also, this side seems to be just a little bit lighter than this one, but I really think is that it has more coverage than this side, so it kind of just smooths everything out. You don't see all the shadows and things like that. This is how the comparison is. I'm gonna wipe this off and then put this all over the face. I'm gonna show you how I use it with a brush and then go on to the blush. All right, so I put an SPF. I put my glow screen because I'm gonna wear this all day. And then I put a little bit of my Hourglass primer. I haven't tried this with a primer yet, so I thought, why not? Okay, so I'm gonna start with, well, I'm only gonna put this all over my face. I'm gonna put 2 pumps on my hand right here and then spread it out on the back of my hand. And I think what I've learned with this one and the blush, you'll see, is that you want to spread it out because you want to break all those little beads. I'm going to do this side with my finger and then the other side with a brush just to see the comparison. But I really like the fingers with this because you can really work the product in. You can break all those beads. It's a very expensive product. You don't get a lot. So this to me goes a longer way than a brush. A brush will end up soaking a bit of product because it's so watery. It's just gonna do that. So I'm pushing this in, and then initially it's very watery, just like the water tint, but then it becomes nice and it sets itself. I don't find like I'm walking around with a greasy face, but then again, I don't have oily skin. Yeah, That was so fast. So this is with and with nothing. And I think it has good coverage. I wouldn't call this a medium, but I would call it a light to medium if you build it up a little bit. On this side, I'm going to take my BK Beauty 101. I've been liking this because it's, you know, synthetic, and it spreads the product well. I'm not ruining the brush because it's all water, but I do find that it soaks up some of the product. I like the density of this though, and just how easy it is. So now I pretty much have no more product here. I do feel the need to add another pump. I think if I use my finger, I probably wouldn't have felt the need to add more. But with this, I definitely think you need more. And I think it's wiser to put it on and then use the brush to blend it out if you really need to use a brush, because otherwise you can't pick up quite enough product on the brush. I just looked in the mirror to compare, and I actually feel like there's a tiny bit more coverage on this side that I used the brush. However, I did use more foundation as well. So I did build up the product here more than here. So whatever's left here, I'm just gonna take it and just touch up this area. And you guys can see that it has coverage. I've seen some reviews that they say, oh, there's no coverage to this. There's almost no difference between, this one and this one. And they are very similar, but I do think there's more coverage to this one. And I would feel very comfortable wearing this with a little bit of concealer, and I would feel like I have medium coverage on my skin. This is the skin, and I think it is just really beautiful, really smooth. It has a radiance to it, but it sets down. It's a little sticky right now when I touch it, but throughout the day it almost dries down, but not in a negative way. I'll talk a little bit about the wear once I'm done with the whole makeup and like my final thoughts, but this is how it's looking like. I am going to go finish up the rest of my makeup. I'm going to put concealer, do my eyes, my lips. I will not put bronzer yet because this blush, I have thoughts and I want you guys to see the product without bronzer. And then after that, I'm probably going to add a little bit of bronzer. So I'll be right back. I finished the rest of the makeup on my eyes. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. It's really beautiful. I have a little bit of this, and this, and that's about it. Actually, I have a little bit of this one right here just on my lash line. That's it, super fast. On my lips, I have the combo. Where is it? This one right here, the combo from Christian Audette. This is from Tara Lynn's collaboration. Beautiful products. I put a little bit of both. Under my eyes, I have my Huda Beauty concealer. I've been reaching for this every day. I love it so much. And I think that's about it. Okay, let's move on to the blush. Okay, so this blush is $50 and it has the same idea and I guess technology as the water tint. There's all these beads that are suspended into water. I think it's 70% water if I'm not mistaken. And you have to kind of crush those pigments and those bubbles to create the color. And this product, since I saw it, I was like, that's gonna be messy. Like, just I like the idea, but I'm like, that's not very practical. And it is not. I'm gonna swatch it for you guys. So that is the product right there. And then you kind of have to break all those bubbles, and you have to break the bubbles. If you try to just put it on your cheeks, no, it's just gonna lift all the foundation because you kind of have to rub the product in. And that's the color. This is light peach. After I purchased it, I posted about it and they're like, oh, I hope you got the darker shades because these don't show up, and they're very light. I was like, no, I got the lightest one. I did not know about that. So right here, it looks a little bit more intense, but once you put it on the cheeks, it's a little light. So I have it right here on my finger. I broke it up. So I'm gonna put it on this side of my face first. And I will show you with a brush as well. I have a stippling brush that I've kind of been using with this. And I'm just kind of tapping this in. I don't want to rub it because you're gonna lift up the foundation underneath, or the concealer or powder, whatever you put under there. And I'm trying my best to build this up. But as you can see, it does not build much. I wanted to do this without bronzer because I really wanted you guys to see just like the actual product. I'm going to put bronzer at the end to bronze up the skin because I'm quite pale right now. But I'm trying my hardest to build this up. And I think what I found is let it dry down a little bit and then put another layer on top. Because like this will dry down. That's the beauty of this product, is that yes, it has like luminosity and it's really pretty, but it will dry down and it will stay put. That is wonderful. Like even on my hand right here, like it's drying down. Like you can kind of see it here. It doesn't have like super watery consistency anymore. So I'm trying to build up as much as I can, and I will tell you, more than this, you cannot build this up. I'm not hating this product. I don't really hate the fact that it's so light. I mean, if you have fair skin, I think that would be really, really beautiful. So I've put another pump here. I'm gonna add it like this, so I won't waste it. And then I'm gonna take a stippling brush. This is a Zoeva 125 and actually has this product on it. I used it yesterday. So I'm taking some more and stippling it here. Maybe I should put my mirror here. So I'm stippling all of this in, bringing it up just a little bit. And, you know, I like the brush in a way because it has a little bit more control and it like blends out the product a little bit better than with the finger. With the finger is a little harsher because it's kind of hard to blend out. Because, I don't know, I think the finger is just puts a little bit more product, and when you blend in the product, the product kind of gets down your finger. It doesn't stay on your fingertips to blend it easily. So with a brush, I do find a little bit easier that process of, you know, making it look a little bit more seamless, a little bit like, you know, it's just blurred out everywhere. All right, guys, so this is how the blush is looking like. This is the most build up that you can have with this blush. Now, I like it. I like the way it looks. I would consider this more towards a no makeup kind of look for me. Like if I have full on makeup, this may not be the blush that I would reach for, but I wore this with this the other day with a little bit of lip balm and a little bit of gel through my brows, and that's it. I didn't put anything on the eyes. I didn't put bronze or anything, and I thought it looked really, really pretty. I was kind of looking in the mirror in the car and I was like, oh, like my cheek is like healthy. It's like looks healthy and glowy and juicy. That's kind of how I felt, like my skin was looking like juicy. But this is not a lot of coverage. If you want more coverage, I saw that the deeper ones really have more coverage, and I think you can kind of, you know, work better with those. But this color light peach is a very light. I think it takes a lot to build it up, and this is the most you're gonna get. Now, I like the way it looks right now. It's pretty, but it took me a bit to get here. And for the idea of it being a no makeup kind of look, I don't want to work that hard for my blush. I could just take any other blush and just kind of put it on and I'm done. Now it has a really pretty effect. See, it has like a glowiness to it and all that, but so do many of my other blushes. I don't know. Let me put the bronzer on, because every time I put the bronzer on, I feel like the blush almost stands out in a way, like, or like it doesn't look so separated. I'm going to put the blush on. I'm going to use my Chanel Beige. I'm going to do that off camera so it won't take us forever. And then come back, show you the finished look and my final thoughts. All right, guys, this is how it's looking with the bronzer on. I think the bronzer helps kind of define the face a little bit, and then the blush is a little bit more noticeable here. So I like the combo. I think it looks really nice. Trying to see if my skin still feels slightly tacky. Very little. It's nothing noticeable, but it's not completely dry. Like, it's not setting like a matte foundation or anything like that. But just overall, I wanted to mention that because I did notice that maybe a little bit more than with the regular tint. Anyway, but yeah, this is the blush in the skin. I think it looks really pretty, kind of natural, but you can kind of see that I was able to achieve quite a full face of makeup with that foundation. Definitely the concealer helps because it's more full coverage, but I don't feel the need to have any more coverage. If anything, I feel like it's like, okay, this is the max I kind of want to do right now. Let's talk about my final thoughts. Let's start with the foundation. I like this. I really do. The way it wears, it's nice. I would say it's not as nice as this one, which makes kind of perfect sense because this literally has no coverage. So when it kind of fades, you don't really see much. This one, it fades nicely, but around like my smile lines, I can see it gathering a little bit more than this one. Because it has more coverage, obviously it's gonna be more noticeable on the skin. A good thing about this one is that it looks like your skin. It looks nice and just juicy on the skin. It gives you more coverage, so that is really nice. And this could be an everyday foundation because it's not too much. It looks like skin. It's easy to apply, and just overall, I think this is really nice. Now, which one would I recommend? I mean, that really depends on what you like. If you like more coverage, go for this one. If you like barely any coverage, this is still a great one. In my collection right now, I think I don't have anything as unique as this because this literally looks like I have nothing on my skin. So to me, if I were to just have a one in my collection out of both of them, I still think I would pick this one because it's so light. It looks like nothing, but it does something. And I'm somebody that loves no makeup, like looks no makeup. I love makeup, but like something that looks like you have nothing on the skin. And this definitely looks like, oh, you're put together, like your face looks nice and even, and with this one literally you wouldn't know if I'm wearing this or not. So because this product to me is so unique, I still think I would choose to have this one over this one. But if you're somebody that has any imperfections that you want subsided, or if you have redness or something like that, this won't do much to you. This will be just like a primer, and something like this could be very, very helpful for you. I still love it. I will use it a lot. I may go through this quite quickly because like I feel like I've already used quite a bit just these 3 days. And yeah, I think it's great. I don't really have many complaints about that. But just overall, my preference, my lifestyle, and all the foundations that I have, I feel like something like this, I can kind of replicate. Something like this, I cannot. I would say the Rose Ink one is more similar to this one than this one. Let me grab that. So Rose Ink is this one. This is a very light for me, 040. So I never wear it because it's like really light. But this, I would say, has similar coverage as the new one from Chanel. So you can see how light that is. But I would say that this this reminds me of this. Let's just say that. Great product. I love them both. I'm glad to have them both. I do think there's a difference. And again, it really depends on what you like and what, you know, how you like your makeup to look. Now moving on to the blush. I don't like this. I absolutely recommend. I think it's gorgeous. I don't really have much negative to say except the price and how little you get. But this one, I'm not sure I would recommend. I think if you are just loving the idea, loving this really beautiful effect, and you don't mind the extra work, I think this is beautiful. But if you're like most of us, they're like, okay, let me do my makeup real quick. Like, I don't think this is practical. I really don't. Because with this one, you really have to break those products, those pigments in. It just takes so long. And when I rub it on my hand, again, like I mentioned, it kind of goes all over my finger. And then I feel like applying it kind of gets it all over. I have a hard time controlling it just right here. The brush definitely helps, but I just hate wasting product, and the fact of just wiping my finger off, I don't know, just something about the application, it just seems too much. Kind of like the Lisa Eldridge blushes. I love the way those look on the skin. I just love the colors, the textures, but it just takes too much for me to take them out of the tube, blend them on my skin, get a brush, put them on. I never reach for them because of that. This, I think it's going to be similar. I think it's just too much work and not enough pigment. I actually do like how I'm looking right now because I don't feel like I need a ton of blush. So if you want to focus more on the bronzer, this would be a really good blush to kind of just give a little bit of life, but not too much. I don't need a highlighter because this has that pretty finish. So that is my perspective on it. I think it's $50. I think it's quite expensive for what you're getting. I had to use one pump on this one pump on this one, and I think you're gonna go through this quite quickly. You get here 0.5 ounces, so half of this one. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on the products. Loving the foundation. The blush it's just not for me. I think the application, everything. I am curious to see in the future if I keep reaching for this, if I find that the effect is that unique where I have to go through the trouble putting it on. But with the foundation, yes, you have the same issue, but like I just use my fingers and just blend everything in. So either way, I would use my fingers for that. So I don't mind breaking the product and putting it back on the skin. It's just easier. And I think the effect is more unique with these than with the blush. So I would really love to know what your thoughts are about these products. I think they get so many mixed reviews that I think it's interesting to see what you guys think of them, and if you enjoy them, have you tried them, are you gonna get them? I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.